started as just another closing shift at Nordstrom. I was new to the job, having transferred from a smaller store downtown. The pay was better here, the atmosphere upscale. Plus, I loved the polished floors and the sleek, contemporary displays. But the grandeur of the place at night had a different feel, something unsettling I couldn't quite put my finger on. The store had already closed to customers, and my colleague Amy and I were the last ones finishing up. The others had left earlier, leaving us to tidy up the department and lock everything down. The silence was almost deafening. The usual hum of activity was replaced by an eerie stillness, broken only by the occasional creak or distant hum of the air conditioning. Around 11 p.m., Amy suggested we split up to finish faster. She'd take the men's section, and I'd handle the women's. I agreed, not giving it much thought at the time. After all, the sooner we were done, the sooner we could leave. As I moved through the dimly lit aisles, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. It was irrational, I told myself. The store was locked up tight. Still, the mannequins cast long, twisted shadows, and the mirrors seemed to reflect more than just my image. Every step I took echoed, making me feel like there was someone or something just behind me. I had just finished arranging a display of summer dresses when the lights flickered. A chill ran down my spine, but I brushed it off as an electrical glitch. It's an old building, I muttered to myself, though it was hardly convincing. Continuing my rounds, I noticed something strange. One of the mannequins had moved. I was sure of it. I had passed by earlier, and it was facing the entrance. Now it was turned slightly, almost as if watching me. I shook my head, laughing nervously. I'm losing it, I thought. The walkie-talkie crackled. It was Amy. Hey, everything okay over there? Her voice was static-laden, but I could hear the concern. Yeah, just tired, I guess. This place gets creepy at night, I replied, trying to sound nonchalant. Tell me about it, she said with a small laugh. Almost done here. Meet you at the entrance at 10. Sure thing, I said, and clipped the walkie-talkie back onto my belt. I resumed my tasks, but the sense of unease grew. Shadows seemed to dart just out of my line of sight, and the silence became oppressive. As I turned a corner, my heart skipped a beat. Another mannequin had moved. This one was now directly in my path. Its lifeless eyes seemed to bore into me, and its plastic hand was raised as if to reach out. I stumbled backward, my pulse racing. This wasn't possible. Amy, I called into the walkie-talkie, trying to keep my voice steady. Something's weird here. The mannequins, they're moving. Silence, then static. Amy, I repeated, a bit louder. Sorry, what? Her voice was faint and distant. The mannequins, they're not where they were, I said, glancing around nervously. Don't mess with me, she replied. I'm already freaked out enough. I'm not kidding, I snapped. Get over here, please. There was no response. The walkie-talkie was dead. Panic began to set in. I looked around, trying to see if there was any logical explanation. Maybe someone was playing a prank. But who? We were alone in the store. Gathering my courage, I approached the nearest mannequin. It was dressed in a sleek evening gown, its plastic face eerily serene. I reached out to touch it, half expecting it to come to life. As my fingers brushed its cold surface, a loud crash echoed through the store. I spun around to see another mannequin had toppled over, its limbs splayed in a grotesque manner. That's when I saw it. A shadow moved swiftly between the racks. Not a mannequin, but something darker, more sinister. I could hear my own breathing, rapid and shallow, as I backed away slowly. The shadow moved again, and I could feel its malevolent presence. I approached the men's section, I heard a faint whispering. It was coming from the fitting rooms. "Amy," I called out, my voice trembling. No response. I edged closer, the whispering growing louder. It was unintelligible, but filled with a sense of foreboding. Pushing open the fitting room door, I found Amy lying on the floor, unconscious. Her walkie-talkie lay shattered beside her, and her face was pale and terrified even in unconsciousness. Before I could react, the door slammed shut behind me. I was trapped. The whispering grew into a cacophony, and the darkness seemed to close in, suffocating me. As I crouched beside Amy, praying for a way out, I felt a cold hand on my shoulder. Turning slowly, I faced the unblinking eyes of a mannequin, its face twisted